All right. So we are here to debunk some myths around the project management apprenticeship program. So I know most of our contractors have been seeing some of the communications from NECA National and ELECTRI all over social media. I wanted to get you on because you head up the ELECTRI Talent Initiative Committee, which I am on, and I think it's time that you and I have a meeting of the minds and kind of debunk some of these questions that contractors from all over the United States, but specifically from Atlanta, that they have. So let's chat. So introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Yoakum. I'm the Director of Future Workforce Development with ELECTRI International, and two of the main programs I oversee for ELECTRI and NECA are the Project Management Apprenticeship and our NECA student chapters. Today, we're specifically talking about apprenticeship in kind of a new lens. So for our industry, built in the construction industry, we know apprenticeship to mean field apprenticeship. So really that trade specific skilled craftsman, that type of program. This is kind of a whole new lens on that. And it's really built on opening new pathways for people to come into the industry. So I will challenge you while we're going through this to think about apprenticeship as a training opportunity and the model to be hands-on education partnered with that mentorship and guidance aspect of it. So when I say apprenticeship today, I mean an office apprenticeship, something that is more in the realm of the project management track.
Yes, and I think that's been one of the kind of confusing things, right? Because it's so ingrained that the apprenticeship program is for electricians. But the reality is, when we were doing our research for all over the United States, all over the world, in different industries, they've got apprenticeships for everything. So that was one of the things that, I know you and I have talked about. We wanted to make sure that we drive home is that this is not connected to our local JTC. This is a non-bargaining, this is a contractor-led position. So our contractors have full control over the pay, the benefits, the duration, all of that. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit more. Like, what is the structure of this apprenticeship? Like, give me the 5,000 foot view.
So the way this apprenticeship was structured was really crafted in the mindset that NECA contractors are all different. We have so many people in this network, so many companies that operate with different cultures, different players in the game, different projects they're working on. We knew that there needed to be some element of flexibility in the structure of our program. So when we sat down to build this, ELECTRI actually partnered with American Apprenticeships Work, and they are a apprenticeship specific company that helps organizations build out their own programs. They took a European based model, which is very focused on office apprenticeship, and kind of brought it over to the US. And they've helped me dive into all of the content and the structure of our program to make sure it fits for a wide range of NECA contractors. So the way we mapped it out was it's really geared to go over 52 weeks worth of curriculum. However, it's competency based. So if you needed more time, less time, if you've already accelerated in certain areas, as long as you can showcase that you've met those competencies and we can check them off and show your understanding to the Department of Labor, then you can move on to your next components. But if you're really struggling in an area, you just take more time in that. So if you're fresh, like green coming into the industry, don't have industry experience or any really understanding of the foundation of the construction industry, specifically the electrical industry, or you're really new to that project management track, you might be taking some more time in the early foundational stages to learn more about the program, and that could essentially adjust where your 52-week lands out. But it's meant to take the span of a year. With that in mind, we also have break weeks. So we know you're running companies. We know your employees are part of projects, other initiatives. We also know that life happens. I have a young child at home, and he definitely impacts my schedule. But we know that we want to keep people on this regular learning schedule. So we built in these buffer weeks for you to catch up on curriculum, learn more where you know you need to. So if you got into one part of estimating, for example, and you know you need more training or understanding in that area, use that buffer week to help you kind of dive into that more. And then you go through the program with the support of a mentor manager from your company. So someone who is able to help guide you with company specific information,
Hmm.
give insight on maybe past experiences your company's had, or just ways you do things. People do
Right.
things differently. People do
Right.
things in ways that fit the market in their area. So something that I might do might not be what Liz does.
Right.
This is really helping cultivate that company-led aspect of the program where it's not just someone getting training in a classroom and moving on. They're learning how your
Right.
company does it with the support of a manager or mentor from your organization. And then AAW and ELECTRI provide a coach for the apprentice, and they
Right.
do weekly sessions with their coach, which coaching is, I wouldn't say a new concept for our industry, but not that many people get the opportunity to have professional coaching. So to have that so early on in your career to help
Yeah.
really fine tune, put it together, dive in more is something that is very unique to this program. And we've gotten really good feedback on it so far. But the 52 weeks has a lot of curriculum in it. It's a lot of training and education, and it's meant to follow a specific flow to help them build on each aspect. So by the end of the program, they have this well-rounded industry knowledge, technical skill set, and professional development leg to it so that they're not just managers, but they're leaders in your organization. And you pair it with the support team of the manager, mentor, the coach, and then obviously ELECTRI, NECA, and our partners with AAW are here to help be involved in any type of support that the apprentice or the company might need throughout the program.
And so, I mean, it's a comprehensive apprenticeship program for project managers, right? We're not taking electricians out of the field unless that is their goal, right? Like that would be a mutually agreed upon goal. This is the goal for this program is to recruit and retain, you know, project managers. And so, if you've got, let's say, a kid that comes out of high school, maybe that has interned with you. This is a great place if you want to put that student, in recent high school grad right into a project manager track. Or if you've got, maybe someone who's in career transition that just needs that curriculum, take that off the plate of the contractor. You can put that person in the field, maybe in a prefab shop to get any of that hands-on job knowledge, but then letting American Apprenticeship work put in the work for the curriculum and all of that.
Absolutely. So actually, I will take a second to go over kind of who the ideal candidate is coming
Yeah, that'd
into
be
this.
awesome.
One of the things that we get a lot of questions on is where are you finding these people? Who are these people?
Right.
What is the pipeline? Are we just snatching up everybody out of the field? And that is something I absolutely want to debunk. The whole platform of this program is to create new pathways of
Right.
training and education in the industry so that if somebody is transitioning out of the field and they're isn't necessarily a training opportunity. We were just losing them before
Right.
to either competitor organizations or into a role that might not have been the best fit for them because there wasn't training to help them get to that next layer.
Right.
The premise of this program is really meant to create new opportunities for people to grow. If you asked me at 20 years old if I wanted to be in the same exact capacity of a position my whole entire life, I know I would say no.
Right.
I don't know what I would want to do, but I know that I wouldn't just want to stay in the same spot. Something that we don't do ourselves justice with in the industry is showing career pathways. And this is really meant to help be like, all right, so you're looking for a career transition. Now here's actual training that goes with it and help you build into these different roles and new capacities that you could want to find yourself in. Something that I think would be helpful to showcase is we have a variety of different apprentices in the program already. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have people who are green, 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 not
Mm-hmm.
just new to the industry, but new to the whole mindset of workforce. So they're fresh out of high school, college. We have some that have no background in the industry coming into family organizations and learning. And typically, the way that it would have been done before is you would start in kind of an administrative capacity to learn
Mhm.
a little bit more about the organization and start picking up things over time about the industry. That takes a long time to
Mhm.
build your knowledge and your
Yes.
skill set behind that. This is meant to accelerate that. So
Right.
you have a lot of people who followed that pathway and are going into their family organizations, and instead of just taking 10 years in a slow build of understanding the industry and the technical skills, this is giving them a foundation in 52 weeks, so 1 year
Right.
to really start building out on their own. In no way will they be, equipped to manage multi-million projects on their own.
That's right.
We're giving them the foundation so that
That's right.
hopefully one day they will be able to do that, with the experience, repetition under their belt, all of those different unique opportunities you have when you're building your career. We're helping kind of accelerate that. And then on the flip side, we actually do have some people who have transitioned from the field for a variety of reasons. Some were physical restrictions and limitations that their bodies now had. Others were just career progressions that they are
Right.
now ready to go into a different capacity in the industry. So they have so much experience and wisdom under their belts about how the industry works and how their roles operated. And now they're able to translate that into the office. It's not just a switch, though. They're now learning the office environment. They're learning how different operations work in the business, and they're getting that project management training and understanding under their belt because being out in the field in whatever capacity they were in, transitioning into the office now takes some different skill sets, technical abilities, navigating software, all of these
Right.
different things that they might not have had exposure to before. So it's meant to meet them where they are. And by having someone who brings those unique experiences in, it helps us as the program executors know where we need to spend time. So if we have someone who kind of fits that profile of very fresh into the industry or the workforce, we know we need to spend a little bit more foundational time explaining the
Right.
industry. And then for those who have a ton of wealth of knowledge under their belts from the industry, but are in a new capacity in the office, we know we need to work on some of that office transition with them
Right.
up front to make them feel more comfortable, confident, and able to execute on what it would be like in that office capacity. So it's not meant to steal people or,
Mm.
take people out from where they're shining. It's really meant to give opportunities because inevitably you want to grow in your career. We want to
That's right.
provide those opportunities, and us as the NECA and ELECTRI network, we pride ourselves on providing those opportunities and keeping great people in this industry. And this is
Yeah.
just one of those ways to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I've had a couple of contractors reach out, just in the past couple of years, just asking for, any kind of classes, things like that. So I think this is a great plug and play. And like I said, it's contractor led. So let's kind of talk about that because, obviously on the chapter level, we've kind of talked about, where do we get these people? Some chapters, some contractors are very active in their recruiting. So what does it look like on that recruiting process? Let's also kind of dive into on the back end, like the brass tacks, like how do we go about, costing this out as far as, because they're apprenticeship, because they're an apprentice, what does that look like,
So, in the world of recruiting, ideally, I would have a million people that I could
Right,
just say, go to this company, this company, this company. That's not the situation
right,
right now. And not just because of the workforce shortage, but because this program is new, there's layers of learning and comfortability that contractors are going through. So,
right.
a lot of what we're seeing from our early adopting contractors already in the program is that they've identified someone at their organization that they already know
That's a
and
great,
that
yeah,
they understand how they would essentially build and grow in this program. So while they're learning the program, they're putting a trusted person in the program. So it can be that really geared on, let's see how this works first.
right,
As contractors get more exposure, comfortability with the program, they will be more willing to take new people in, which is where
Yes.
that like new pipeline of talent is coming. I also know that some people are weary of having a flood of 18-year-olds
A
coming
hundred
into the
percent.
industry.
I
So,
think that's everybody's, and I think that's everybody's kind of heartburn, right? Is we've got all these green people and where are the trained people coming from? So I hear you. My contractors hear all of that too.
so we're looking at other talent pathways essentially, and a lot of talent that comes into the construction industry is transitioning military.
Right.
So one of our goals in 2025 is to look into different ways to partner with organizations so we can be that pathway.
That's a great idea.
Again, it's a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Contractors need to be comfortable with how the program works to know that they're willing to take a new person who
Right.
hasn't necessarily been on their team yet. And that'll take a little bit of time to build. But on the back end, while that is building and we have contractors who are familiar with the process, it is very cool to see. We have a lot of repeat contractors getting involved. So they put someone in a cohort and then 2 months later, they're like, I'm going to put another one in. I'm going to start
That's good.
another one after that. It's just a rolling basis. And now they know how the onboarding works. They know what it looks like. They understand the training and how it meets up with their on the job. And they're great candidates for me to reach out to and say, hey, we have some opportunities to help transitioning military come into these
Mhm.
opportunities. If they're local to you, let's see if we can make this match. If they're not local, let's talk about conversations about how if I do have more people who are looking for opportunities, how I can connect them to you. So it's a long-term goal. We're starting to build it. It's definitely something on our radar. And then on the other side of that, one of the reasons that you mentioned earlier, we call this an apprenticeship for a specific reason. One, and most importantly, it fits the model of apprenticeship. It's on the job training with structured support and education. Two, we have the backing from the United States Department of Labor, which means there is support, resources, and credibility with it. And that means when we're looking for new people who are looking for job opportunities, they understand that this is a structured,
Right.
credible program for them to come into, not just a side program that's different anywhere you go.
Right.
They know that they can trust that this program will deliver on what it's saying it's delivering on. And part of that is because we're partnered up with the Department of Labor as a registered apprenticeship program. So when we're looking at this future pipeline coming in, yes, we want we want a wave of young professionals coming in who are going to be new to the workforce. Inevitably, they will be new to the industry as well. We understand that and our model can fit that.
Right.
And our model can fit these transitioning military members or just career transition people who are
Yeah.
looking to go into new industries. It's able to support both of those structures, and we're looking into what that will be in the future. The main focus now is to make sure that NECA contractors understand how the program operates so that they know who they want to bring onto their team
Right.
to put through this type of training.
No, I think that's awesome. So how does how does a contractor express interest? Who do they need to go to besides emailing you?
I was gonna say, so it's a wild storm of communication right now. People just know to find me, and I
I
have
know.
to get through it. In an ideal world, they will go to the ELECTRI website and fill out the enrollment form. We have a button on our website that says enroll now, and it just notifies me and it gives me just the upfront information I need from the company to then have
Perfect.
further discussion with you. If you have any questions, please don't use the enrollment form as your way
Yes,
to
that's
reach out.
fair.
That is really when you are ready to go.
Right.
If you have questions, you can reach out to me via email is best for me. I do get flooded with phone calls on this and it's hard to fit them in between travel and meetings, but I'm happy to answer any questions people have. We also have an FAQ page on our
Perfect.
website that is literally built out of 2 years worth of questions I've gotten from contractors. So it's really meant to fill in any blanks that you might have. But the process would be you fill out the enrollment form. I reach out. It's placement on first come, first serve. So sometimes we have contractors that have 3 people that they want in one cohort. If they're dead set on having them all in one cohort, it might not be until a few months down the road
Right.
because our cohorts are filled. Right now, our next available cohort is June, and that one's half full right now. So the earliest
That's
you could
awesome.
start training would be June. With that being said, we do about a month and a half of onboarding. So it's not extensively like every day you're meeting with us, but we have to collect information for the DOL. We have to get your
Right.
apprentice set up with different softwares and registration. We pair them with a coach. Everybody learns what the expectations are, and we walk you through that over a couple different touch points. And then there's the launch of the training, which would be what I just referenced is June. So in June, the apprentice would get started with their classes, and that's literally the start of their 52 weeks. They go through
Very
this
good.
training and build each week on different aspects of what would make them a great project manager and leader in the industry. The fun question is how much it costs.
Yep.
The full scale training is $15,000 per apprentice, and that includes all of the support from ELECTRI and AAW to deliver it. So we use a variety of different NECA education, Electrical Training Alliance education, and a variety of other different business development platforms to help train the apprentice. You're not responsible for buying licenses for those. You're not
Right.
responsible for signing them up. We handle all of that. So all of the tedious like login, password, create this, create that, we help walk through all of that for your apprentice. We also host everything on a structured learning management platform for the apprentice. So although we're utilizing multiple different education platforms, it's all homed in one area to make it easy for
Great.
them to use. We help set that up. We have 24/7 service for that. We want to make sure that it's as easy as possible for your apprentice to be able to
Fantastic.
get the content and training that they need, because $15,000 is not just pocket change.
That's right.
We understand that contractors are looking for different grants, state grants, tax incentives, things like that. So we're working on our end to try and figure out a roadmap of how to support contractors. Right now, it's been based on what contractors are participating in what states. So if I
Right.
have a bunch of contractors in Indiana, that's one of the places we've been looking right now to find ways to support them. And as we continue to grow, we'll start road mapping for all of the states in the US to say, hey, we have this available in this state. Something that I would encourage the chapters to do is work with your contractors to see what tax incentives are available.
Right.
There are definitely a lot of apprenticeship specific tax incentives. The process is different in each state, and they try their best to make a little bit of hoops to jump through.
It's all
So
right.
if you work with your contractors to help outline that, that's another way to help offset some of the costs. Outside of that, Wesco contributed $100,000 to scholarships this year to help support contractors who are interested in pursuing this program. And we have it set up where large contractors are eligible for $1,000 credit, and smaller mid-sized contractors are eligible for 2,000. And we have it broken up
Awesome.
to they are eligible to apply for up to 3 in 2025. So if you
Got it.
enrolled 3 apprentices in June, or if you did one in June, one in September, one in October, you'd be eligible for the credit for all of those while our funds last. We are now booked out to June, so we have a little less than half of the
Wow.
funds available. So if you're coming to sign someone up in December anticipating a Wesco Cares credit, you might not be getting one
Right.
because we have a lot of interest in that this year. So keep that in mind when you're considering enrollment and if you want to leverage some of the financial resources we have.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, as part of the talent initiative committee and representing the chapter, just some, getting some creative ideas that the chapters can do, and like you said, at the state specific. So, stay tuned, Atlanta people. We will definitely be looking at some of those things. What is I'm trying to think of one more piece of advice, but I do think that we've covered everything. Is there anything else that you would like to just put out there? Because I feel because we'll link the FAQs, and we'll have some of this information, in the description for the post. Is there anything else that you want to leave for our contractors to think about?
I'd say the one thing that I want people to be thinking about while they're moving forward is that this type of training structure in the US is new. That doesn't mean it's new in general. So, although this model is new to us, it doesn't mean that it's not successful or hasn't had years of fine-tuning on the back end. We're really excited about bringing this to the industry. One, because we're one of the first trade associations to have a multi-employer
Cool.
office apprenticeship, which is an incredible thing for us to be able to bring into opportunities for people who want to have thriving careers. And with that in mind, we want to make sure that people know we're open to all feedback, different training opportunities that you're looking for. I know we get a lot of requests for different tracks of training in
Right.
estimating, construction technology. Those are on our
Mhm.
radar. Those are things we're looking towards. And I want to make sure in this first foundational level with project management that while we're giving the training that our contractors feel confident that that training is meeting the mark for them. So
Right.
as we get more feedback and testimonials from people already going through the program, and then we're, hearing questions of people who might want to get involved in the program, please know that it is a revolving door of feedback. And improvements that happen from cohort one are typically applied to the next cohort or the
Yeah.
following cohort after. It's quick changing adjustments. So we are now have 4 cohorts who have started under us, which means 4 different times to make revisions before, new people come into
The
the
next one.
program.
Yeah.
And we're ELECTRI. We're led by ELECTRI. We are always at the cutting edge of the industry and making sure that everything we're doing is relevant and if not forward thinking, but like already ahead of the curve, so that these professionals and apprentices are staying relevant with what's important in the industry. I know one thing that people get kind of bogged down with is there's so much changing so fast. How do I even know what I need to train on? We're taking
Right.
care of it for you. You
That's
don't even
right.
have to think about it.
Plug and
We
play.
hold your hand along the way if it is something just totally profound and has not been seen in this industry before. We will make sure that you don't feel like you're left behind in that process. And we want you to know on our end that these apprentices are not just a person taking a training opportunity
Right.
or, trying to get a technical skill set. We
Right.
really care about them as professionals. And
Yeah.
from the bottom of my heart, I know that this program means more to me than just giving somebody a job or giving a training opportunity. It's literally
Totally.
meant to give you all of these different aspects that will make your work and your career life the best possible variation of itself. We spend so much time in our jobs. I love every second of my job, even if workforce development is not always fun. And I want to be able to provide that opportunity for other
Yeah.
people. So having the ability to do that through this program is something that I just want contractors to know we don't take it lightly. The way
That's
that
right.
we treat your apprentices and treat your companies as participants in this is it's really meant to be a full scale highlight for you and make sure that you have a great workforce under your belt so that when you retire, you're happy, at ease, not worrying about who's taking
That's
the
right.
lead.
Yes. Professional workforce. No, I love it. I appreciate you just taking the time because like I said, I feel like we've both been fielding questions from anybody and everybody. So I appreciate it. Beats, having you fly all the way down here to Atlanta. So I appreciate, like I said, we're gonna spread this word and I appreciate you coming on with me today.
Yeah, no problem. If anybody needs anything, you know where to find me. If you can't find me, find Liz. But our website does have great resources, so I would definitely check that out.
Yep, we will get all of that linked for you guys. Thanks, guys.